Britain might look like a small island today. But did you know that thousands of years ago, it was a part of Europe? Back then, there was a landmass that connected Britain to mainland Europe, known as Doggerland. It covered approximately 46,620 square kilometers and occupied what is now the North Sea and the English Channel. But when and who first discovered this land? Who used to live there? And what eventually happened to it? Keep watching because we've got some exciting theories and history to share with you. So, the name Doggerland was first coined in the 1990s by a professor from the University of Exeter named Bryony Coles. She came up with the name after Dogger Bank, which is a massive sandbank located in the center of the North Sea. The word dogger comes from a type of medieval Dutch fishing boat that was common in that region. At that time, it was an area of land in northern Europe, but today it lies hidden beneath the southern North Sea. Doggerland was not always underwater though. During the Pleistocene epoch, this land was repeatedly exposed as huge glaciers formed and sea levels dropped during ice ages. So, what was Doggerland particularly known for? Well, it was an extraordinary place that once connected the British Isles to mainland Europe. And no, don't think of it as just a normal piece of land. The area was filled with vast wetlands, rivers, lakes, and marshes. This incredible environment was home to ancient creatures like woolly mammoths, saber-toothed cats, and hyenas. These animals were vital to the Neanderthal population that lived there, providing them with food and other resources they needed to survive. Because of its rich resources and vibrant ecosystem, Doggerland became a central hub for hunter-gatherers. Droves of people traveled to the area, following the herds of animals that roamed the land. Sascha van der Vaart Verchoef, also known as the overdressed archaeologist, even refers to Doggerland as the heart of Europe because of how alive and important it was during its time. If we talk about who lived in Doggerland, it was home to people during the Mesolithic Period, also known as the Middle Stone Age. This was a time between the Paleolithic and the Neolithic periods. The Mesolithic period marks the final stage of hunter-gatherer lifestyles before farming and agriculture started to spread. For Europe, this era lasted from about 15,000 to 5,000 years ago, though some experts say it began around 10,000 BC and ended by 4,000 BC. People in Doggerland relied on the land's resources, using tools and skills suited to this in-between age before major changes in how humans lived began to take place. Now here's an interesting fact. Nobody knew Doggerland existed until 1931. So, how did they come to know about it? Well, you'll be surprised to know that it was an accidental discovery. Yes, that's right. It all started when a fishing boat called the Kalinda was working near the coast of Norfolk. Out of the blue, the crew pulled up a big, stinky chunk of peat from the sea. At first, it might have seemed like just some smelly mud, but upon closer inspection, they found something incredible hidden inside. It was a Mesolithic barbed harpoon carved from antler and measuring 21.5 centimeters long. This ancient artifact was later discovered to date all the way back to 10,000 BC. While it may not have seemed like much at first, this discovery suggested that the seabed of the North Sea could be hiding more prehistoric treasures. And guess what? It absolutely was. Then, everything began to change for Doggerland at the end of the last ice age. Around 12,000 BC, temperatures started to climb, and as the Earth warmed up, glaciers began to melt. This caused the sea levels to rise steadily, and bit by bit, Doggerland started to disappear beneath the waves. Just imagine watching your home slowly vanish over centuries. By about 7,000 years ago, almost all of Doggerland was gone, leaving behind just a tiny strip of land called Dogger Bank. Scientists now believe that there were key stages in Doggerland's disappearance. Around 9,000 BCE, what was once a wide stretch of land began to evolve into a large tidal bay, sitting between eastern England and Dogger Bank. Over time, the sea level started rising more quickly. This rapid change eventually turned Dogger Bank into an island. And as the waters continued to rise, Britain itself became completely separated from the European continent. Here, we have a recent and fascinating hypothesis about how life may have dramatically changed for people of Doggerland. Around 6,200 BCE, scientists believe that a massive tsunami swept across much of the remaining coastal land. This powerful wave was triggered by an underwater landslide off the coast of Norway, called the Storegga Slide. Just think about those walls of water racing across the land. wiping out villages and reshaping the coastline forever. The impact on the Mesolithic people living there would have been catastrophic. Scholars suggest this tsunami may have claimed up to a quarter of the population in Britain at the time, forever altering their way of life. This event likely marked a turning point, cutting Britain off from the continent completely and sending its culture down a unique path. Next, we have a 2014 study that revealed another exciting theory about what Doggerland might have looked like around the time of the Slide. Researchers suggest that only a few low-lying islands remained of the once vast region, and the area may have already been largely abandoned before the massive tsunami struck. But that's not where the story ends. Some scientists believe the tsunami's force temporarily retreated after its devastation, exposing parts of the land again. However, another dramatic event followed. Lake Agassiz in North America burst, unleashing enormous amounts of fresh water into the oceans. For about 2 years, the rising sea level submerged Doggerland for good, transforming Great Britain into an island. Clues like the uneven distribution of broken shells across the region's higher and lower areas hint that some land may have survived briefly after the tsunami, but was eventually claimed by the sea. So, what have the scientists and the archaeologists managed to research so far? Well, many amateurs have helped a lot in the Doggerland research and found quite a lot, such as artifacts of that time. In fact, there's a Facebook group called Doggerlanders that invites people from all over to share their knowledge and discoveries about the lost world of Doggerland. It's an exciting community where members post fascinating finds, including pictures of what some believe are well-preserved footprints of Neanderthals. So, what have we found so far? Well, in 2009, an incredible 40,000-year-old piece of a skull was discovered off the coast of Zealand. However, one of the most thrilling discoveries is a 13,000-year-old skull fragment of what scientists call the world's oldest Dutch woman. This incredible find was brought up in 2013 by a Dutch fishing boat trawling the North Sea. The fragment, which comes from the left side of the skull, belonged to an adult woman who was likely between 22 and 45 years old. Researchers believe she was part of a hunter-gatherer community from Doggerland, a now sunken landmass. The shape of the skull suggests it was from a woman, and chemical tests revealed that her diet included plenty of meat from animals her community hunted. Then, in 2016, a nurse named Willie Van Wingerden stumbled across something extraordinary, a 50,000-year-old flint artifact, along with minor human remains and even hyena bones on a beach in Rotterdam. And you know what's more interesting? A lot of the information we now have about Doggerland didn't even come from fancy research projects or big-name archaeologists. It actually came from oil and wind farm companies. These companies played a huge role in mapping the underwater terrain and collecting evidence while working on their own projects. As of making this video, over 2,000 objects have been recovered from Doggerland, giving us a glimpse into what life was like in this lost world. These discoveries include human remains, animal bones, tools like axes and hammers, and even fossils. There are nearly 1,000 known bone weapons to have been found. Some of these bone weapons, like barbed points, are quite small, about 9 centimeters long, while others are much longer. However, in the past, these artifacts were often overlooked by archaeologists because they didn't have enough context to seem important. But that view has completely changed. Luc Omkreutz, curator of the prehistoric collections at the National Museum of Antiquities in Leiden, explains that they were deemed rather worthless until about 10 or 15 years ago. But thanks to modern techniques, researchers can now extract a wealth of information from these findings. They are studying stone, bone, and antler projectile points to figure out which materials ancient people preferred and where those materials came from. More recently, many of the incredible finds were displayed for the public in a special 2021 exhibition in the Netherlands called Doggerland, Lost World in the North Sea. This exhibition allowed people to see these ancient artifacts up close and learn more about the fascinating history hidden beneath the waves. So, this was everything about Doggerland, the lost world beneath the North Sea. It's a story filled with mystery, adventure, and scientific discoveries where researchers and amateurs have come together to uncover the secrets of this ancient land. Yes, the land may have been lost, but its legacy lives on through the artifacts and knowledge that continue to be discovered. Who knows what other secrets may lie beneath the sea, waiting to be uncovered? Leave a like if you found the video informative, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more. Oh, and one more thing. We love your support in the form of likes and subscriptions, but we would love it more if you could support us through supers. Thanks for watching.